Welcome back, everyone, to Hearts of Iron 4 as we play Kaiserreich as the nation of Austria. The war continues in the Pacific. If you have not seen the episodes up to this point, there's a link in the description that will take you all the way back to the beginning so you can get caught up before you get to this point. It is April 1944. Going to do a little shifting around. Some of you have made some pretty good suggestions to me. One is that the supply issues we're having down here are being compounded by the fact that I'm using a lot of armored divisions. The panzer divisions are great for trying to get breakthroughs, but they're not good when you have limited supply. So we're going to swap them out for infantry divisions who consume less supplies. We're going to move our panzers up here where we have created a new 12th or a new army of 12 divisions that we're going to use to cross over and take this little bit of Japanese territory away from them. And that actually gives me a pretty nice jumping off point if I wanted to try and jump onto the mainland islands of Japan, though I'm not sure my navy is in such a place that I could do that yet. Okay, our panzers are on the line. You can see they're already having supply issues, but I think they're going to be able to break through. There's only 2 divisions defending. We should be able to make a run down this line pretty fast. There's actually an airfield right there, which would be really helpful moving forward. And it seems that making that switch to infantry divisions has already had an impact as we've broken through. And we're in a position where we might actually be able to surround them here fairly soon. I'm going to move these divisions in here. We'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Japanese divisions surrounded if we can move into this last bit of ground here. Let's see if we can hit these guys right there. Doesn't look like it's working out so far, but there we go. We've got them cut off. Let's hit this one here. Beautiful. So that was a nice bit of strategy change in moving to infantry down there. You can see we're having the same supply issues now with our panzers up here, but that's okay. So I'm looking here and I'm seeing that I have a great deal of resources that are going to waste that I'm not using. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and change my trade law to export focus, which is going to allow me to export additional resources, and that may give me additional factories. Right now we're at 249, civilian factories 121. We're building a number of nuclear facilities right now. I actually also like to build some more rocket facilities, but I think really nuclear is where it's at for me at the moment. I also want to build up a few more silos. Okay, let's see if we can destroy these units that are in here that we have surrounded. That would be the perfect scenario to wipe out some Japanese divisions that are surrounded while I've got them cut off. Oh, he's able to move. I didn't think about that. He's got access to this territory back here. Even though I don't, he does. Alright, but we're still making a nice move down the Korean Peninsula at the moment. And I think we're a little bit cut off in terms of supplies over here to where it's difficult to move. But we still seem to have enough to be able to get the job done. This is interesting. Canadian referendum fails with Great Britain restored and King Albert restored to Buckingham Palace. The Dominion of Canada has evidently been left with the feeling that the British overstayed their welcome, or that Canada has now been left behind, unrewarded and forgotten once its task was complete. So let's see. French-speaking Canadians were adamantly opposed, while more traditional-minded English-speaking Canadians were in favor of remaining. So what will happen with Quebec is an interesting question. As of now, it is remaining as a part of the Dominion of Canada. Greece declared war on the Ottomans. Interesting. Now, keep in mind, Canada includes the Northeast United States now, since they took that during the American Civil War. So I guess we are now at war with Greece. Interesting. Everybody's going to jump in on that. I don't think we need to get involved in that, since I think there will be adequate numbers of troops in Europe to handle that situation while we continue to focus in Asia. We are trying to deal with this pocket of resistance here in North Korea before we start moving toward the south. And supply is a main issue that we're having right here. I might have to switch, just like we did elsewhere, and put our panzer divisions out of this fight in favor of further infantry divisions. In the meantime, a major disaster in the South China Sea. I didn't even think I still had my Navy operating. I thought we had parked them, but looks like 3 submarines sunk, a destroyer, 2 carriers, 2 German carriers, the Graf Spee and the Admiral Hipper. I lost 4 battleships. That is awful, and a battle cruiser. So that's most of my heavy ships that I had left. My Navy is basically kaput at this point. Like I said, I thought I had them not operating anymore. But we're down to 4 battleships, 3 battle cruisers, 2 escort cruisers, a destroyer, and 4 submarines in our task force in the Pacific. We just completed upgrading our naval bombers to naval bombers 3. I got a ton of air experience, so we're going to probably do some upgrades to our planes fairly soon. I'm thinking that maybe we upgrade these naval bomber 3s. See what we can do with those. Give them a little more reliability, attack. I want to get the reliability as high as I can. That's pretty good. We'll take that. So naval bomber 3, that's the Mark 1 variant of that. We're going to start ramping up production on those as much as we can. I'm still building as many strategic bombers as I can, 1.5 per day at the moment. Looks like we need to do some upgrading to trade. Specifically need to import some more rubber. Guess we'll go with Cuba. We don't need quite that much. There's a naval battle that took place in the Adriatic Sea. We lost a convoy, not a big deal. We're still joining wars. We do have new research available to us. Let's look at air power for a second. I think we'll go with the next strategic bomber. We're 3 days away from Concentrated Industry 5, about a year away from having nukes. We're going to have those historically right about the exact same time that the United States got them. We're about to consolidate things in North Korea, as you can see, and there are a ton of other nations starting to pour divisions in, including Ukraine, Belarus, and others, but those Hungary as well. So a lot of other divisions coming in to help out with that fight, so it's not just us doing the heavy lifting there. All right, I turned my back for 1 minute and all of Korea falls. A lot of that has to do with all those extra divisions that have moved in from other nations. We're about to complete all of that. I'll be curious to see if, now that we have completed the conquest of Korea, if one of my allies doesn't launch a naval invasion, an amphibious landing somewhere in the mainland of Japan, so that we can end this war. I'll be curious to see if that happens. Once we're able to move down this peninsula the rest of the way, we can get our air power in much closer to the Japanese mainland with these airfields that are right here. This does give me the ability to build some new naval dockyards now that I control North and South Korea, so we're going to go ahead and start queuing those up. In fact, I'm going to move those projects up ahead of all of my infrastructure that I'm currently building. Most of my nuclear plants are done as well. Looks like we're out of convoys, so we're going to need to... I always forget where that is, production. We're going to need to queue up some more convoys here at the expense of our other naval projects. Well, we've got an attempted naval invasion happening here. And it looks like they were successful in landing the Kingdom of Siam, but we'll very quickly get on top of that because we do have forces in the area that are set to defense, and they'll immediately throw that back. We're running into some issues completing the conquest down this peninsula here. Looks like the war with Greece is over, and this is actually some really good news because these are territories that I have the opportunity to grab that would give me another place to build a navy. So, perfect situation for me. I don't think I can quite take them all, though. Looks like I can take Crete to start, which is a good start. It might be all I get to do. Looks like it is. But hey, that gives us a nice little base down here in the Mediterranean in addition to the one I already had. And more importantly, gives me another place to build not only a naval base, it looks like we already have a naval base there, but naval dock, only one. Oh well, it's better than none. Okay, I think we're starting to finally make some progress in breaking through here in October 1944. We are right on the cusp of things here, but supply, of course, is a major factor in all of this. We're having a really hard time supplying our troops. But I think we're going to make our push and finally take this area here. And then we'll be able to take advantage of the naval base and air base that are here. Still don't have any convoys. I'm trying to build them as fast as I can. I need 317 of them. I need 386, and I only have 317. So I need a whole lot more than I have. All right, we've taken it. Excellent. So let's take a look at our air forces now. We've got a lot of close air support that we were operating over here. We don't really need at this point, but let's take a look. We have rocket interceptors, fighters. Looks like we're short on fighters. We're going to need to start producing some more fighters. We've been losing a lot of them in the air war with Japan. In fact, we had over 1,000. We're down to 635, which means they're destroying a lot of ours. We do have 200 strategic bombers now, so that's nice. But boy, the fighters are an issue. So let's see what we can do about that. Let's go to our production and start cutting down in areas where we don't need anymore and start ramping up our fighter production big time. In fact, we can even cut back on strategic bombers at this point and really just focus heavily on fighters. Of course, that's going to impact our needs as far as trade goes. And without enough convoys, we really need to trade by land, but there's not really anywhere we can get rubber by land at the moment. We can get aluminum from France. Now, speaking of fighters, we just completed our first jet fighters. The 1945 tech, the BF-262, is now ready. So that's some great news. That's going to be really helpful. Let's go over to naval. We're going to continue working on our naval research. Let's go ahead and start producing. Instead of these fighters, we're going to switch over to the jet fighters. We do have a ton of air experience, so we can actually improve these things quite a bit, which I think is going to be helpful too. I don't like the reliability where it is. Let's get that up to 100%. Okay, I like that. Plus 3.6 to air attack, plus 240 kilometers to their range, and plus 9.5 kilometers an hour. Max speed is now 1,000 kilometers an hour. That's awesome. All right, let's start mass producing these bad boys and start creating a squadron of those. Looks like right now we're only producing one a day, but that'll rapidly go up. Boy, we need a lot of tungsten to make that happen. We certainly don't have it right now. We can cut back on our need for aluminum, though. Who can we trade with for tungsten? India. Perfect. That's by land. We don't need convoys for that. So I'm keeping a close look on Jagdgeschwader 6. That is where my jet fighters are. There's 15 of them. Now we're up to 17. They're getting experience quickly. Not seeing whether or not we're really losing any, but Air superiority mission's still about the same because we're still losing fighters faster than we can replace them right now. And actually our strategic bombing efficiency is going down too. So we've just got to continue ramping up that fighter production as quickly as we possibly can. Specifically those jet fighters. 2 a day is what we're producing right now. What about regular fighters? I think, we actually stopped producing regular fighters now in favor of just the jets. So the nice thing as we get into the end of December 1944 is many of our allies are starting to give us fighters in Lend-Lease, which is actually really helping a lot. And I noticed that I'm way behind on my artillery research, so we're trying to upgrade our artillery for any future wars or land battles we get involved in. We are 172 days away from nukes and 80 days away from improved rocket engines. Let's take a look now at the situation with the fighters. We're at 785, which is far fewer than I need still. Let's take a look. Jagdgeschwader 6 has 89 jet fighters. We are losing some because I do see that number drop every so often. So he is shooting some of those down. But as that gets up to full capacity, I'm hoping we'll start to see a turn in the air war. We're down to 25% mission efficiency, though, so it doesn't seem to be going the way we want it to at the moment. Our jet fighter production is massively increased now that we're getting more production efficiency, and we've got a long way to go on that. It's going to get much more efficient. We're producing almost 8 jet fighters a day, and so we've actually started creating our second squadron of jet fighters. I've also got regular fighters producing, but only 3 a week right now. That is, though, being supplemented by the Lend-Lease that we're receiving, but it's still nowhere near what we need. We're even with 1,300 fighters in theater, only 25% mission efficiency right now. So we're far, far, far away from what we need. And our strategic bombers, we've been losing a lot of those. So I just don't know what we're going to do short of being able to hit mainland Japan. And I don't think we're going to be anywhere close to that until we can build a navy. And navy is just not something that I'm anywhere near being able to have. All right, we're upgrading our railways so we can get supply to the people who need it. We've also got new rockets available so we can build rocket interceptor 2. I'm not entirely sure what those are good for at the moment. All right, there's a little bit of success. We sank 4 escort cruisers and 4 destroyers of the Japanese. We lost 1 escort cruiser, 1 destroyer, and 4 of our naval bombers. But we have 600 naval bombers operating in the Sea of Japan now. Our naval supremacy, though, is only 43%. Of course, we're going to have to get that to 100 before we can even think about any kind of a naval invasion. There's another naval battle that happened down here. That one did not go so well. We lost a battleship, 3 escort cruisers, and 6 destroyers. All right, Japan has declared war on China, which is perfect for us because that means he's decided to go to war with a new power in the world, and certainly will only hurt his ability to fight me. I am trying to get naval supremacy, which I have 93% now in the Sea of Japan. I think part of that is because he's having to shift his navy to other places. And we're trying to prepare a naval invasion, which is at the moment 22 days away from being ready. Now, whether or not we're going to be able to supply this army once we get them there is another question. I'm also noticing that my air superiority mission efficiency has gone way up, and I'm guessing he's had to shift some of his air power over to deal with those new enemies that he's made. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think he made a huge mistake by going after China when he did. We are 15 days away from having nuclear bombs, so there's that, and we've got the strategic firepower to do it. I don't know if we're going to be able to drop them without having air supremacy in the region, but we're going to find out here soon enough once we start producing those. What outdated equipment do we have? Oh, we can upgrade our artillery. Okay, perfect. And middle of June, we are about to have our nukes. There it is. We've developed the nuclear bomb, and we're going to keep track now of how many we have. It looks like we have 7 nuclear reactors, So 52 days to produce one bomb. I feel like I want to do a little better than that. So let's go ahead to construction, and we're going to start ramping up our reactor production, because we do have, I thought we had spots where we could build, but maybe we are not as far along in that process as I thought. There's over here, there's some spots. Give me some more reactors. We need more bombs. Okay, let's see if we can actually make our naval invasion happen. I don't know if we have naval supremacy. I guess we do, because the invasion's happening. Now the question's going to be whether or not we can support the invasion once we get them on land. Are we going to be able to supply them enough to get a foothold in Japan? All right, there we go. So that's the start. Let's draw an offensive line. Hopefully allies will come to our assistance. We're going to try to push down into Japan and spread out so the supply, the more we spread out, the more we take of his territory, the easier it gets to supply these guys, because that is obviously our main concern, and it doesn't look like he's got any defense there at the moment, so that's the good news. Let's go ahead and add some infantry divisions to this army, maybe a couple of panzer divisions too, just so we can break out quickly. And we're definitely going to want to get, we lost a sub. Oh, that was a Ukrainian sub. We're definitely going to want to get air power there to help out with close air support. So let's get them going too. We don't have a lot in terms of ability to do that here. We don't have the range either. That kind of sucks. Who cares about those? Let's at least get one close air support wing attached to them. And hopefully they'll be able to move into a place where they can help out quickly. All right, here comes the first Japanese defense. Attrition's not terrible at the moment. Supply status is 2% though. That's a major problem. Alright, supply status is a little better. 16% now that we grabbed one naval base. If we can get down here to Hakodate, I think that will start to relieve the stress on our supply a little bit. We can see the first German divisions are starting to move into position to help out. We really need to take Hakodate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, but that's what I'm going with. This is a pretty major naval base, it seems. We don't quite have the strength to be able to do that. Alright, taking Hakodate has indeed solved our supply problem for the time being. I don't know why these guys want to move from there, but I'm going to keep them right there because we've got to protect those supplies at all costs. I'm going to wrap it up right here. I know we're finally in the middle of the invasion of Japan that's going to hopefully decide this war. As we're seeing, we're finally moving the dial toward capitulation for the Japanese. You can see the fielded manpower for our allied forces is somewhere between 17 18 million. So we have a huge advantage on him. The difficulty had been getting across to get at him. Well, that problem's been solved, at least for now. So let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below, and we will be back again soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.